My brothers and sisters, what is going on? Steel Sermon in the house on this Sunday evening with another video for you guys. And as always, like I say, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter. Links are posted in the description box below. And be sure to be able to share this video and this channel, quite frankly, with everyone that you know. Trying to get this channel built back up means more than you ever know. So, in this video, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, I already know what this guy's going to say about Mason Rudolph, but I want you to just bear with me a little bit, okay? Because I'm going to come on here and I'm going to do something that, quite frankly, hasn't been done in quite a while, and frankly, I don't even know if it's ever been done. I'm going to talk about Mason Rudolph in a constructive way. Now, it's not going to be entirely positive, but it's not going to be entirely negative either. This video is like smack dab in the middle gray area. Alright? So, these are my honest thoughts about Mason Rudolph. Okay? Now, let me just say, I don't dislike Mason Rudolph as a person, okay? I think Mason Rudolph is intelligent. I think that he has a good IQ. I think his brain functions properly, but the thing with him is that, he just has no common sense when it comes to the field, okay? And I don't think it's for lack of effort. I don't think that, he doesn't try at practice, and I don't think he doesn't try at training camp or whatever. So I don't think it's for a lack of effort. He's just not good. And, that happens. Players can, bust their tails at practice, or they can be incredibly hardworking and being competitive to win a spot on the roster, but they're just not good. And, it happens. Mason Rudolph's a good example. Now, obviously, my take on Mason Rudolph 4 years ago when we drafted him in the second round out of Oklahoma, I was ecstatic because at that time, I thought we got our replacement for when Big Ben's gone. So obviously that take was far off. That was probably one of the worst takes I've ever had. My entire YouTube stint. Probably the worst take I've ever had. My YouTube stint. Aside from 2019, I said the Pirates were turning the corner and they were going to be a playoff team. But that's besides the point. But anyway, it's just, he's just not good. Okay? And I get that you can't fully blame him for 2019, and I understand it's unfair to fully blame him for 2019 because, Big Ben was injured pretty much the entire season that year, and Mason Rudolph was thrown into an emergency situation where he had little to no time to prepare. So yes, I laid off of him for 2019 because it was unfair to criticize him there. But there's one thing in particular that does warrant a little bit of criticism for Mason Rudolph in 2019. Enter Week 5 against the Baltimore Ravens that season. Mason Rudolph gets knocked out by the Ravens, so much so he loses his face mask, and, he looks like a football player from the 1940s or something, So he gets a concussion, he misses a couple weeks, and Duck Hodges comes in for us. To Mason's credit, before that concussion, he looked confident. I'm not going to say he looked amazing. He didn't look amazing. He didn't look terrible. I thought, okay, this guy looks okay, He looks confident in the pocket. He makes quick decisions. And it looks like he looks like he can be a competent backup, Maybe he can be the start. Maybe he does have what it takes to be a starter in this league for when Big Ben eventually retires. That was my thought back then. Then that concussion came, and it's like I'm seeing a completely different quarterback take the field. The thing with Mason Rudolph, to me, from what I see from most of 2019, the final week of 2020, and especially that Lions game that we had last year where Mason Rudolph was the starter. Big Ben was out for that game because he had COVID. From what I saw from Mason ever since he had that concussion against the Ravens, he just doesn't have what it takes. I see a guy who's scared to take a hit. I see a guy who is playing to not get injured. You're never gonna succeed as a starting quarterback if your mindset is like that. Like I said, I don't dislike him as a person. I think that I'm sure he's a nice person off the field. I'm sure he's a respectable person off the field. And I'm not going to get into this whole crap about, whoa, he dropped the N-bomb to Myles Garrett. That was never proven. All right? There was no hard evidence that he said anything to Myles Garrett. And think about it like this. If Mason Rudolph really did drop the hard R to Myles Garrett like that, which is why he got whacked over the head by his helmet, think about it like this. If that actually happened, do you really think Myles Garrett would have waited a full week after the incident happened? Or do you think he would have said something right away? Because he was questioned about it. He was flooded with questions about why'd you hit Mason over the head. Not once did he say after that game, oh, Mason said this to me, or he called me that. He waited a full week after the whole incident. But that's another topic, okay? I'm sure he's a nice guy off the field. I'm sure he's a smart guy off the field. He's just not a good quarterback. And Mike Tomlin is actually confident that he can have a chance to be our week 1 starter against the Cincinnati Bengals. And to Mason's credit, he has looked more accurate in training camp. He has looked more accurate with his throws. He looks like he's making better decisions, not incredibly better decisions, not drastically better decisions, but he's making better decisions. But I'm just going by what I see. When I see Mason Rudolph in the pocket, I see a guy who's scared to take a hit. I see a guy who's playing to not get injured. And I see a guy who just lacks the basic fundamentals of playing a quarterback. In order to be a starting quarterback in this league, you have to be willing to do two things. You have to be willing to take risky passes down the field and show confidence. And if you throw an interception into double coverage or you make a nice 45-yard pass that gets intercepted on one-on-one, it is what it is. You made a bad decision or they made a great defensive play. There's nothing you can do about that in that particular instance. So that's number one. You have to be willing to take deep, risky throws. You have to be a risk taker. And secondly, and most importantly, to counter what I've been saying about Mason Rudolph, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, however long it's been since I made that video, in order to be a quarterback, you have to be willing to get hit. Okay? Do you think quarterbacks like Brett Favre or Peyton Manning or Big Ben or Drew Brees, even Aaron Rodgers, I'll even throw Tom Brady in there, do you think those quarterbacks, when they played or when they're playing, do you think they're afraid to take a hit? Do you think that they're afraid that this guy's going to knock them out or whatever, they're going to sustain an injury when they take the field? No, they're not. You want to know why? Because they understand or understood what it takes to be a quarterback in the NFL and to much less be a franchise quarterback or to have a quarterback that has good stability. Okay? Like I said, it's like being a boxer in a boxing ring. When you're boxing against your opponent, in order to knock out your opponent, you have to be willing to get knocked out yourself. All right? Mason Rudolph, to me, if he was a boxer, he'd be holding his hands up like this the entire fight and going like, don't hurt me, give a couple slaps like that. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. That's what Mason Rudolph is like to me. He's lost his confidence because he's afraid that he's going to sustain an injury like that again, when instead of moving past it and instead of trying to better himself because of it and trying to show that he's stronger than an injury, he's playing not to get hurt. And oftentimes it leads to boneheaded decisions like causing a turnover, staring down receivers, becoming a one-read quarterback, and forcing himself to become a pocket passer when he might not have that capability of being a pure pocket passer. Because what was Big Ben? What was his play style like? Okay? Not that this guy's ever going to be like Big Ben, because let's face it, no matter who we draft after the Big Ben era, they are not going to be a duplicate of Big Ben. Okay? But what was Big Ben's play style like? Good use of legs, not really mobile, but can evade a tackle, can extend a play, good maneuverability in the pocket, and a good arm. Mason Rudolph, he don't have that. His play style is release the ball as quickly as possible so that way you don't get blindsided again and you don't get another concussion. It just shows lack of confidence, and it shows, the inability to be a starter in this league. That's just what I'm saying. Once again, I applaud that his accuracies look better. I applaud that he's starting to make better decisions. So maybe I can be completely wrong about this in a month or so, and that, maybe he's just a late bloomer, and it just took him until Big Ben finally retired, so that way he can be a starter in this league. Who knows? But based on what I have seen in Mason Rudolph so far, I see a guy who just lacks confidence. Okay? Like I said, you're in that boxing ring, and you can't, you're in there. You have to be willing to get knocked out. And if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. It is what it is. It's up to you to decide if you're going to be able to put that behind you and learn from it and evolve as a quarterback. Or if you're just going to let it haunt you for the rest of your career and let it define who you are. Because if you do that, your value's going to go down and your skills are going to diminish. And that's what Mason Rudolph has become, at least to me. And, unfortunately, we can't control what Mike Tomlin says, and we can't control his decisions that he does. Okay, that's beyond our control. We have no power in that. But if that's true, what Tomlin said, that his accuracies look better and that he is looking more like a competent starter, and that he has a chance to start week 1, okay? Not saying he is going to start week 1, but he has a chance to start week 1, then all we can hope for is that Mason has learned his lesson and that he truly has evolved. So, that's pretty much it. This video's gone on long enough. These are my general thoughts about Mason Rudolph. I think he's a decent enough person off the field, and I think he works incredibly hard. I think he's a hard worker. I don't think he slacks off, and I think that he, puts in effort every time he practices or takes the field. He's just not a good quarterback, and he just doesn't have the confidence. And those are my honest thoughts about Mason Rudolph. My unbiased, unprejudiced thoughts about Mason Rudolph. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Like I always say, new to the channel, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are posted below in the description box. This is Steel Sermon, checking on out for the night. May God be with you all.